Well, hello there, everybody. Yeah, little George Thorogood and the Destroyers. Tell you what. Saw your comment, Gilbert. Yeah, they are a group that is, well, what can you say? So let me get over here as I get over there, and I see that everything is A-OK. So, how is everybody? Hope you had a great weekend. I did, had a fabulous time of study. I spent, uh, wow, into the wee hours of the morning and then got up and did it all over again. Feels like Jackson Brown, doesn't it? Anyway, thank you for tuning in and being a part of this trip. It's a trip. Um, yeah, it's a trip. So, speaking favor over us, nothing missing, nothing broken. How's everyone in the chat room? All the moderators and everybody else. The doc is from Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Beautiful country up there, Doc. It really is. I've been up there and have to say it's quite beautiful. Lost in Space, what's up? Favor be back to you, bro. DC, what's up? Jackie, hello. Uh, I'm Nancy. What's good? What is good? Well, anyway, I see Rick's there and Deborah Sloan. How are you, darling? So, anyway, world's getting stranger. You know, the question someone wrote me and said, why do you study, this topic, magic, demons, angelology, demonology, theology, philosophy? Yeah. Well, the reason why is that for myself, I spent the greater part of my time on this planet under a belief system that, quite frankly, didn't pass the background check. And, you know, everyone's free to do whatever they want. Your choice, it's your life. But for myself, if what I had believed in was the only foundation was the individual's belief, faith. Now, that's risky. I have found in my life that it's one thing to have faith, but you can misuse your faith, misplace your faith. Your faith can be, oh, food, so to speak, for those that we can't see but interact with us on a daily basis. So for myself, after that experience, which sucked, you begin to have to rebuild the Lincoln logs again. And, you know, uh, then once you get to a certain height on the Lincoln logs, you get the erector set. Many of you can get the an analogy there. But anyway, I had a good 50 years of indoctrination, but I was always an inquisitive type of individual. The problem was when I started asking questions, that's when it seemed like everybody got themselves all Twitter-pated. And anyway, so the question becomes, if you look at the world today, is the world today the result of humans alone, or is there interference? I mean, something's going on. We are in an age of deception, lies. It's very difficult to determine what is a lie and what is truth. You can't believe your eyes anymore because the magic is truly out there. today, technology, most people have no idea, but the magic is in the technology. Do you think that the waste of energy of 8 billion supposed souls would just be what, willy-nilly out there? That's an energy source that is delicious. But when you look at technology, technology today is magic, plain and simple. And when you begin to realize that, then it really gets strange because now you're getting into microism of what's going on. So if it's humans and humans alone, then we can't figure it out. We don't know what we're doing. We always fall short. There is the theory that says that we have passed our peak and we are now a civilization that's in collapse. Okay. Um, if it's not us, then where's the interference coming from? I mean, does God truly exist? Never appeared to the world at once, you know. Um, I'm not saying God doesn't exist because technically I am a God. So if I say God doesn't exist, then that means I don't exist. No. So I always heard about angels, read about them, thought I knew them, actually saw one. So when I take an inventory, I'm going, okay, well, I believe that. Then I was taught about these bad guys. No idea where they came from, at least in the teaching. They resist. They were part of the fallen ones. But the problem was everything was being blamed on this so-called bad group, while the good group seemed to get away with murder, literally. So magic plays a role in all of our lives. Yeah. The fact that we're here could be called magic. And if magic is something, then you find out that magic is attached on one end by something that most people have no idea about. Then you have this other end, which is illusion, trickery. And that's how most people see magic. But we all know it's much deeper than that. So here we are. Excuse me. So we're studying about these cats. And as you get into the deep stuff, wow. This weekend, I have to show you. If you want to read a good book about magic and how the demons and the hierarchy and how they play a role in man's affairs. If you want to know why most people fail at their magic because they don't believe in it, the vast majority of people are lazy and they will not do the strict discipline process in order to get results. You have people that try to take corners, cut corners, but what you find out is that these beings, if they are real, well, pretty bizarre. We'll get into this guy's book. R. Rundell Overman. He is he is a master, and it's probably one of the more interesting reads on if you truly want to practice talking to the unseen ones. You know, I did that for decades. I'd pray all the time. I'd pray in the spirit. I'd pray all the time. And what I was doing, I was invoking, I was conjuring. So if I was getting results over there, well, why wouldn't I get the same kind of results over here? I mean, you have to build the circle. And, you know, when I first got into this thing, we lived in Colorado at the time, and I went out and drew with no freaking guidance. I mean, it was drew, and I'll actually show the pictures later on. I mean, even go back and look at it, but I drew a what you could call a circle of protection. And it was amazing because as I was drawing out the sigils and finding out the associated crystal or something that went with that particular sigil, it was very interesting because the one thing that I did and I didn't even realize was that with the triangle. So something was communicating. And this gentleman, R. Rundell, um, he had some experiences that all I can say are holy cow, wow, Batman. I'm trying to find one. So let me this one was an amazing, yeah. So he's conjuring the demons. He says, I once had a friend who was an old traditional witch. She was perhaps somewhere in her 60s or 70s and still strong and wild. And what you find out about these spirits, these what we would call demons, I mean, there's a lot of them. They're wild. They are truly a wild bunch. And it's kind of like if you've never, well, let's just say on a herded animals, if you have no experience at that, those animals are going to figure it out real quick. Um, Anyway, he said he remembered one time invoking one particular spirit from the Goetia. He said, I remember turning around and suddenly there was a man standing there. He looked like Cortez or one of the early Spanish conquistadors of South America. He had on a conquistador helmet on his head, halfway curled around him, so that he was standing on the curved part of this snake and its coil. The snake was so large that its eyes were the size of basketballs and its head alone was the size of a small car. Its body must have extended off into the distance outside the house, perhaps 50 to 100 feet. It was the largest astral snake I have ever seen. Um, yeah. And this is just what I have to say. It. I don't need anything from these divine ones, the angels, the demons, however you want to say it. I mean, wealth, I guess as you get further along in life, you begin to see that there's a type of wealth that there is no, you can't put a price. There's no value that can match the understanding that you know you're going to be carrying forward. And that's pretty cool. Um, and we're going to get into that because I want to show the illustration of these. They're gods. I mean, they have different ranks, but they, in essence, are God. And the thing about when you study this subject, you get into it, you find out that the gods today, the demons, the angels, the hierarchy, all seem to lead back to India. Hindus. They have a long-lived history that the Western world doesn't know. And basically, what happened as the migration to the West began, and we're talking, you know, 8, 10,000, 15,000, long time ago. And so those beliefs began to encounter the local beliefs. And as a result, there was this hierarchy. Angels, demons, they all have their counters. They have to. And for myself, I went back because it's interesting. If you come from the perspective that there was an Adam and Eve, right? Um, went back to my book here. These are some great. This is the book of Caves of Treasure. This is the story of what happened to Adam and Eve as they were being banished from the garden. Interesting story. Adam, when he died, his body did not disintegrate, didn't decompose. He was actually buried in the center of the earth somewhat, or so the story goes. And of course, you can't help but the Nephilim, the book of the giants, and you look at the book of the earth. So in all those books, we have the story of these so-called fallen spirits. Now, think about this. We are considered in many different beliefs as fallen creatures. We have fallen from our positions of grace, depending on what your perspective is. So if we're fallen and the demons are fallen, I don't know. Seems to me like we got something in common. Maybe it's just me, but just on the surface, I'm going, well, but we seem to have one commonality. You find out that these beings, there's a hierarchy and it's complex, but a lot of them just don't give a crap about us. They find us in some levels disgusting, boring. Seems humanity can't grow. And if there's one thing about humanity that is certain, we'll fuck it up. And they seem to know this. None of them have actually been born of the flesh. So there is that separation, but they seem to be very long-lived. They seem as well to have a lot of amazing powers. And that's why we get into the grimoires. And in my library, as I'm reading this book, this guy's lifting off these grimoires, and I'm just shaking my head going, I have almost every one of them. And I knew a couple of them were pretty fucking powerful books. And they're small books like this one. This is the Turel. We studied about Turel. And these are the private invocations. In here, you find out specifically with these beings. Now, these are the angels. They can be commanded and compelled as well. This is the one of the this is the Magick of Armadale. And when the EL is in the back of a demon or angel's name, that is L from it. This is probably one of the more serious books I have. This one and these are all powerful. Some would say black magic. I don't know. I've read them. Didn't seem to bother me. I mean, it's knowledge. Again, if I have no business, then why would I want to put my nose somewhere where it's likely to get punched? Figurative and literally. So I'm just showing you what my weekend was like. Because I'm getting deep into this. And so, David Barry, this is for you, brother. If any of you have not studied The Golden Dawn, um, this is the book of modern day magic. I got it in PDF. And along with, when you look at Lovecraft's, the necromancy, um, the Neomacheran. Anyway, it's interesting. There's this whole complex series of beings, and I thought we were reading last week, and we'll pick up on it. Well, what do these characters look like? Pretty strange, if you ask me. Well, I got a PDF that can do it. Hey, Nina, what's up? John Price, Paul Joe, New Yoda. And how you been, Nina? How was your show on Sunday, hon? It's knowledge they don't want you to know. That is a fact. But if you learn this, again, I have really no need of any of what these beings can do. I kind of believe in the live and let live. Now, I'm not going to jack with you, and boy, you try to jack with me, I'll jack back. I know enough now that I can punch them in the nose, figuratively, spiritually, and it smarts. So, let's check this out. Let me get old George out of there. Get back here. All right, so we're gonna have some fun on this. Number of PDFs. I'm going to get into this one. This is Al Gore, the compendium. This is some heavy stuff, man. So we've been talking about John Dee. John Dee, again, was an interesting magician. Probably one of the most, if you look at Mathers and Crowley of the late 20th century, 19th, 20th century, they kind of had the greatest influence in what we today would call the Renaissance of modern magic. And the magician today has to go through a lot of crap in order to get to the essence of what's really going on here. And I just wanted to read this real quick of what about John. He says the Renaissance magus John Dee boldly set out to systematically tap the mind of God by communicating directly with a complex hierarchy of angelic intelligences. Now, this is interesting because the Golden Dawn of the Rosicrucians and that whole segment of Enochian type of magic is focused still around the Hebrew concept of God. They've incorporated Christianity into a lot of the rituals because they give acknowledgement to the hierarchy of these beings. Anyway, they said it can be argued that he succeeded. His magical diaries have long held intense fascination among Kabbalists, alchemists, and explorers of human consciousness who have developed a workable magical systems from these records. Jason Love's work succeeds with breathtaking thoroughness to tell this amazing and true magical tale. More importantly, he also reveals the profound geopolitical significance of these magical explorations, effects that still shape the global realities of today. Now, that to me is compelling because I look at the world today, and this can't be normalcy. In the United States, we're a nation that we're a fallen nation. We've been invaded. Our leaders lie. They work in the magic of deception and illusion. This is powerful demonology at work. And I cannot help to believe that the thing about what you find out as you get into this, there are those who knowingly or unknowingly, they do forfeit what we would call a soul. and it's readily seen by exactly the fruit that they produce. And that gets into an interesting thing, because are the world leaders today influenced by demonic and or angelic forces? If there is this battle or this war that has been going on before man came around in this realm, and it seems to extend into the in-between realm as well, then there's something going on here. It seems that these princes, these kings, these demigods can enhance a human's power. They can find ways that we normal humans, or whatever normal could be, let's say the commoner, are easily put under spells. And it's very clear that there is something going on today. If you ever want to get into the Golden Dawn, it's a detailed study. So I want to get in here real quick. This is the illustrated. This is from Crowley, and there's competing specificity between Crowley and Mathers in how this invocation goes in communicating with the angels and the demons, the archdemons, the demigods. They're here. They've never left. I'm becoming more and more convinced that what we think are UFOs and aliens are really nothing more than these beings. I do not believe that aliens would come to Earth. I believe Earth is in a quarantine position, and everything would go. So give me a chance. There's a lot to this, and uh, in time we may go back on it. What I really wanted to get to as we go down, how, if you're speed reading, fantastic, pretty cool, huh? And you're just going, yeah, I see that. What your eyes are actually picking it up. That's the interesting thing. And it is, whether you can comprehend it or not, is actually being fully registered. So let's get into it. So here are the images now, the illustrations of these beings that, we were reading about last week. Very interesting. And once you find out that everything is ruled down to the hour of how things work, there's a lot of these beings, trillions. I don't even know if we can count them all. They seem to certainly outnumber us in more ways than one. So this is the Luciferage of Rofakal, the prime minister of hell. Stately individual, I would say. I don't think I'd be particularly afraid. I would like to ask him, how does he write with those nails? But okay, so this is Vile, uh, the strange one. So he comes in like a toad, sometimes like a man. You're going to love this. I mean, as you look at this, this is Argars, excuse me, Agars. This particular I don't know, demon. I don't. Sometimes I think that is so derogatory. Divine one. These are proud, individual energies. He's a duke. You don't screw around with a duke. You got to have some common sense about this. And if you were to try to invoke this cat and you weren't, how shall we say, experienced, you won't like the results of it. But anyway, so here he is. Now, let's see what he comes in. The form of a fair man riding a crocodile, carrying the goossock upon his fist. Here's this is Vasago. I've seen this in drawing somewhere else. I mean, there was a cartoon at one time. And I went there and I said, well, interesting that these beings would naturally still be intermixed into our culture. And when you think about artists like R. Crumb, Robert Crumb back in the 70s, in the late 60s, 70s, Mr. Natural and uh, the Fabulous Freak Brothers, anyway, um, I'm beginning to look back and I'm going, I think these cats were in touch with something. So, and by the way, this is a good nature. This is really one that really likes humans. And by the way, they with certain individuals, certain of these 72 spirits, if you want to call them, that's a good name. They find favor in certain individuals. And I can't help but recall with, the interaction I had with Lilith, is it's well known that if they take a liking to you, consider it a bonus. I mean, it's pretty cool. Anyway, so I thought that was interesting. This is Amigna. Yep, Amigna comes as a horse, a little horse, and then changes shapes. This is marvelous. This is I read about him, and well, again, you should be well versed on what you're dealing with. This one, this one, this Valafor, um, he's apparently he can be a badass. In other words, the thing that they say that, and they and a lot of these lower um, demons, I guess if that's what you want to call it, they roam in packs. Um, they like certain parts of the world. Due to certain parts of the world, they're still ruled by the hierarchy of the 10 kingdoms, and these gods are being well established, and not even the God of the Bible or the God of Christianity can actually permeate their fortresses. Um, Christianity has probably been, the one that has attacked more, but it has not in any way removed any of the 10 kingdoms to begin with. So, and if you know about the 10 kingdoms, then, you understand that. Um, yes, this is Amun. This is another one. He's a marquis, and check that out. The shape of a man with dog's teeth and the head of a raven. This is Barbados. Um, again, and I'm just going to kind of just scroll through here because there's some other things I want us to take a look at. Paimon. Paimon is of the four chief spirits. Paimon is in that group of four. And it's interesting because Paimon is known, he is known in the ethereal realms. He is devoted to Lucifer. There's no question about it. This is what this cat do, and he is powerful. If he has favor, if you find if in yourself having favor of him, he can absolutely change a human's life. Um, and then you can see the other aspects. If you're a Gemini, raise your hand. Born between 11th and the 20th, And at my time of day, this is the cat that apparently. So anyway, um, cool creatures. This is Buer. He's a president. This is another big one. You know, even in the bronze books, they talk about the time when there were humans and animals, that, you know, some humans were half animal and half human. This is a weird one. This is Gaishon. He's a duke too. And, you know, as you look at some of these, this is Belith, king. You can see that in some of them, they have some interesting stature. This is Lajari, Marquis. This is Elogos. It's a duke. And they got this whole system that, you know, most humans are completely unaware of. Now, you know, the question I ask as I continue to study this is that, all right, so all of us are going back to this realm. The question is, are we going to, you know, where do you go in at? I mean, these hierarchies are complex. Um, this is Zepar, a duke. You can tell it. This is Batis, badass. I'm, yeah. Another duke. This is Bathin. And I just thought it would be interesting just to see, because I have read enough stories, and I wasn't there, but of people that have actually conjured these beings, and they are apparently pretty powerful. Even the unbeliever, if they were to come into a room where these beings, their energy is there, and they don't even have to manifest. It's said that they can really mess with a human. And if this is what their shape that they go by, I mean, it's rather fascinating. This is Marex, you know, Earl and a president. Don't want to jack with him. Is this Epos? Here's one. I am. And I read about this one. Apparently, the heads are individual entities. In other words, they're in this body, but each one of them have their own personal personalities. I mean, if you get pissed off to the guy next to you, what do you do on that? You know, like, hey, man. Um, Another one that I'm just going to go through here. This one, Boone, Booney, is wow. Dragons are real because they have, for me, what I'm reading, they have some dragons have I don't know, I guess these gods really dig, you know, the whole dragon look, which, you know, I think is pretty cool. I kind of like Smog. I don't know. But yeah, they can think independently. Um, this one was invoked. And as I was reading Ardell, as he was saying in his experience, this one would not take his eyes off of him. But the human head was talking to him. But he said it was hard to keep focused in because when these things are manifesting, Um, there's a lot of energy that's being exchanged, and he said he didn't want to take his eyes off the middle cat because he just felt like, just didn't think it was safe. But it's interesting, and I think it was Pion that this one magician had basically made a contract with, and these gods, these demigods, um, if you speak favor to them, which we're doing here, they dig that. They dig that a lot. If you make a contract with them, um, well, you have to make sure that you fulfill it. In this case, Paimon, there's a specific offering that you have to make to it, and he forgot the last payment. He said things began to go south real quick. And anyway, he rectified that situation. But yeah, and again, I find some of them to be, here's Ashtaroth. Um, Powerful beings. You just get that vibe. Now, I have to be candid with you. I'd be uncomfortable. I mean, if you've got this creature talking to you, I'm sure I'd acclimate to it, but yeah, but you don't want to piss it off either, right? Some of them look more human. Here's one. Um, oh, this one's been reaching out to me. Asmodee. Um, yeah, he is a very. In fact, I have um one of his books, his grimoire. But so he appears with three heads. The first one is like a bull, the second like a man, and the third like a ram. And you just get all sorts of imagery from that. Um, this is GAP, General Accepted Accounting Practices. No, no, no offense. Um, yeah, he's a great president and a mighty prince, and appears when the sun is in some of the southern signs in a human form, going before four great and mighty kings, as if he were a guide to conduct them along on their way. His office is to make men insensible or ignorant, but he can also make one knowledgeable in philosophy and liberal sciences. He can cause love or hatred. Also, he can teach you the consecrated things, those things that belong to the dominion of his king. He can deliver familiars out of the custody of other magicians. So this is few fur. Um, read a story on this one as well. This particular demon, and he's a great and mighty earl. So that's a cool look. I love that. Uh, so this is what is this? Chosias? Yeah, he's a marquis. Another raven. That's a dragon. Phoenix. That's a dragon. That's a phoenix. Yeah. Another raven. Do you see them in your dreams? They say that if you see them in your dreams, this is how they talk to humans. Now you can get the circle and the triangle and put all the tools that you would need to invoke these. But yeah, here is one of the female. spirits. This is Vephar, um, or Vefar. She is a duke, great and strong, and appears like a mermaid. Her office is to govern the waters and to guide ships laden with arms, armor, and ammunition. We read about this one. Get the feeling of Bigfoot on that. Again, I've read on this one. I just find it interesting that I have no doubt these are, whether you believe that they exist or not, they're definitely thought forms. And if someone has gotten either the permission or the talent to draw their images, well, that even more establishes what they are, that they are. Or so the book goes. Grossell? Interesting. Quite frankly, that would freak my ass out if I saw that one coming through. I don't know about you. And again, what would you say? I mean, this is the thing about it is that, all right, I believe you can, in fact, invoke these beings. I mean, I've done it in Christianity on the side of that. But again, I mean, what would you say to them? I mean, it would be very difficult for me to, say, all right, well, so tell me how your life has been. And I often question, have any of these spirits, have they gone through the birthright of flesh? And if they haven't, then it's, one of those things that, well, go through the experience and come back and let us talk, because that would give us something to talk about in common. Right now, I'm in a realm that is filled with iconography, symbolism, and everything else that just, I mean, come on, you're walking down the street and you come upon something like that, like a griffin, and they talk. It's I often think, if you got a sword in your hand, I don't know, and I don't have one, that may be a problem. And he's riding on this huge wolf. I mean, that's intimidating. That's rather beautiful. So anyway, again, as we study, and if you study it, this is on PDF, by the way. Excuse me. It's like, gee. Um, and some of them are just that. So, wow, that looks like an earl, doesn't it, or a duke? Well, just you got a sense that you don't want to bother this person unless you really got a reason. Now, that one is a little weird. Okay, and we got one more. In the form of a man holding a great serpent in his hand. Okay. Well, and to give you an idea, we'll probably get into this one as well. This is, again, a deep study in these beings. And the more you get into it, you find out that, wow, they're quite colorful. They are very unique. Um, and I still get the sense that if they have these personality traits, then there's more between us than what may be known. Here's the question. What can the Black Book do? Asmodee. As far as I know, It can do anything. What can you do with it? And so this will be fun for us to go through. I mean, awakening the dragon power. I mean, that's just cool no matter what. Um, sorcery party. I never thought about this. You could actually throw a sorcery party. That would be a get together. But anyway, step-by-step instructions. And I hope that you're not afraid. Don't be afraid. I mean, they're probably more afraid of you than you are them. This is Asmodee. So, yeah. And actually, this is a drawing, I believe, in one of the witnesses that saw the full manifestation. And there is a book that just lays out everything, what you need in here. But that's so this is Asmodee. Meet him, everyone. Say hello. Get a chance just to check him out. He's a very powerful, um, very good drawing too, I have to say. Rather spectacular, actually. I'll have to read you the story of this one magician that actually brought him in. And we'll just look at this for a second or two. Nina, this was, I find interesting in JD when I was reading this. Thus says the demon Asmodeus. Hear my words given to my scribe, the one who has been called Diabolito. The old age of monotheism has passed, and the demons return to the earth. Let any man or woman who would be a true witch hear me now. I now reveal the path to power, knowledge, and ecstasy in this, the new age. I was born of an angel's seed and a mortal woman many years ago, many ages ago. Mighty deeds I did on this earth, in a time now forgotten, in a land which has gone beneath the sea. Many children I had of my own. I learned magic from my father, the king of all demons, the mighty Samael. Well, I bet Lilith is around here. After a time, I grew weary of the flesh and entered forever into the kingdom of light. Because of the power and authority I had received from my father, I became the king of many demons. I have perfected my sorcery for thousands of years. I am a lord of the Sabbath and primal witchcraft. I have taken for myself a wife of the younger Lilith. I told you she was here. I have written the book of the Algol, and I have that, by the way, and establish its order upon the earth. Since I no longer dwell in the flesh, I make no more children. Thus, I have taken upon myself to find the souls of all those who are my own. My scribe, Diabolito, is one of those. It is his hand that write the book and my words which you read. For many generations after I entered into the kingdom of light, his soul was lost to me. Then once again I found him in the tent of the harlot Rahab. I knew that he was my own by his lust. Throughout the centuries, as he incarnated into many vessels of flesh, I followed him, teaching him the arts of magic as he lived in many lands. Though he did not know that his spirit guide was me, finally, in this lifetime, In the 19th year of his life, I revealed myself to him and became his God. This is the manner in which I revealed myself unto my scribe. First, I caused him to be curious about, and then ordered by mail a copy of the book called the Goetia. Then, when the book arrived at his house, and he was alone one day, I came out of the book like a genie from the lamp. And I've read several incidents of several other grimoires that once they're put and activated, there is a light, there is actually manifestations of beings. First, as a cloud of red light, and then with my voice I said unto him, stand back in the room, and I will manifest before you. In wonder and awe upon hearing the voice and seeing the cloud of energy, he moved back of the room. Then it was as if his sight in the cloud opened, and there I was before him. He could see every detail of my form, down to the hairs of my head. The dragon I ride turned its head and looked at him in the eye. How about that, boys and girls? Okay. Just give respect. We appreciate it. Thank you for the knowledge. And this is, again, when you find the grimoires of these individuals, you find out again the personality. And I don't have a problem with this one here. This being got a little feedback in my ear. Hello, hello, mic test. I'm just reading it. The younger Lilith. First thing to mind was the younger Dryas. Oh my. So anyway, an enlightened group you are. There again, this is not for the masses to feed upon. It would freak them out. But we'll continue on this. It's a fascinating journey, and I love bringing out these grimoires that you typically don't see hanging in the doctor's office or at the local Starbucks. Excuse me. Oh, this is the grimoire of Asmodee. Excuse me. Anyway, so folks, there you go. Chris, you're welcome. I appreciate that. Hey, Julie, how you doing? Yes, my dear, absolutely. Eric, riding a dragon. That's cool. I think that would be cool. Hey, Gaia, good to see you. How are you and Paul doing? Hello, Brian. Good to see you. So anyway, I just think it's interesting. And the more we get to know them, who knows? I don't, again, recommend anyone to get into work that you're not familiar with. But if you want to have the general knowledge of how and what these beings are, then I'm going to make it available, because for myself, I want to know as well. I have a knowledge of it, but it's fun when I can bring it out into an open forum like this, because then we all get to share it. And there's some weird stuff, man. I mean, the whole thing about, I was reading in the Book of Giants. Wow. I mean, that was just messed up. That's all I got to tell you. So in the Book of Earths, in this one here, this one brings you a detailed study of where you don't find in the canon scriptures, but the Apocrypha. And from all those books that never made it in the cut, it was like they weren't important. Hey, Lost in Space, thank you. Doctor, I appreciate it. But the story of Noah and his three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, so it was Shem who Noah said, listen, you got to get Adam's body off the ark. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't read that in Genesis. Like, wait a minute. So they brought the body of Adam onto the ark. Well, in this one, yeah, they did. And So the whole story comes, there is the loincloth that if another human put it on, you were endowed with these powers. Nimrod is said to have worn the loincloth of Adam, and he no longer was human. He became a demon, or a demon spirit, depending on how you want to look at it. But the whole thing was that while Shem was going on this journey, um, he ended up in this cave, the cave of Enoch. And it's just a fascinating story. I mean, and you're going, what? And so while he was away, it was Japheth who got some other people, and they boarded up the ark and they put the seal on it, and they said no human could ever go into it ever again. And you just got to say, well, this is weird stuff, man. And the magic is everywhere. They're doing incantations. I mean, yeah. I'm going, okay. Missed that one in school. Uh, I mean, this is just some wild stuff, and you don't find this again in the canon scriptures, but it's out there, and it in the book of the Cave of Treasures. Now, this is an interesting one because if these artifacts still exist, I mean, even if it's a myth, even that myth had to have a shred of truth in it somewhere sewn in there. This is pretty interesting stuff. So I'm thinking to myself, well, what if there is this? There was several things that Adam was given, and I'm thinking to myself, I mean, if they took Adam's body onto the ark, I mean, no one told me that story, but yeah, and just think about this. All right. So I'll be on tomorrow with the ladies, and we'll probably get into this with the ladies. I mean, with Miss Trina and Jenny. And let me know what you think. I appreciate it. It's fun to just, again, like I said, I don't recommend any person invoking anything that you're not ready for or have any desire to. And I don't want you to be afraid either. Knowledge, you know, it can cut sometimes. It's just the way it is. And, but you'll be wiser for it. That's a fact. Hey, Nina. Um, Many of you never heard that story. Yeah, yeah. Well, come back and tune in. We'll get into it. We'll get into the book of the caves of treasures, and then we'll get into the book of earths. This is a very interesting story, and it's one where, as an occultist, it will blow your freaking mind. So, all right. Much love, everyone. Peace be to you. Favor. And as Nina said, don't play around. Make sure you're ready. That's a fact, Jack. Mm-hmm. Hey, Robert V, thank you. Brandon, right back at you, brother. All right. Hey, Jackie. Okay, everyone. Merry winds. Much love to you, darling. See y'all tomorrow with the ladies. Thank you.